Imagine this, a missile armed not with destruction, but with 3,000 letters. Each envelope carefully sealed, each address written with hope. June 8, 1959. The day when America decided to fire not a weapon, but a message. A day when the U.S. Post Office joined hands with the Navy to send mail. By cruise missile. It sounds insane, right? But it actually happened. This is the true story of the missile that delivered mail, and the hidden meaning behind it that no one talks about anymore. The Cold War was at its boiling point. The 1950s were tense, dangerous, and filled with paranoia. Every headline screamed about nuclear weapons, espionage, and the constant threat of annihilation. America and the Soviet Union were locked in a silent race, not just to control the skies, but to control the future itself. But in the middle of this tension, something strange happened. The U.S. Post Office, yes, the people who delivered your mail, had a dream. A dream of speed, efficiency, and technological power. The Postmaster General at that time, Arthur Summerfield, was obsessed with innovation. He believed that the future of communication had no limits. Airplanes had shortened distances, radio-connected voices, and television brought faces into homes. But Summerfield wanted more. He wanted mail to travel at the speed of sound. He once said, "Before man reaches the moon, mail will be delivered in hours from New York to California, to England, to India." He wasn't joking. And to prove it, he needed something dramatic, something that would shock the world. Enter the U.S. Navy. The Navy had been testing cruise missiles for years, powerful machines, capable of carrying nuclear warheads across vast distances. One of those missiles was the Regulus 1, a sleek, jet-powered monster capable of flying hundreds of miles at more than 500 miles per hour. Usually its nose carried a warhead that could destroy a city. But this time it would carry envelopes. The plan was simple yet unbelievable. A Navy submarine, the USS Barbero, would launch the Regulus missile off the coast of Florida. Instead of explosives, the payload bay would be packed with 3,000 specially prepared letters. Each letter was stamped, signed, and addressed, many to top U.S. officials, including President Eisenhower and other key government leaders. Inside every envelope was a printed message from the Postmaster General himself. It spoke about the dawn of a new era, a future where missiles could be used for peaceful communication, a symbol of progress rather than destruction. The world would soon see a weapon transformed into a messenger. Morning. June 8, 1959. The Atlantic Ocean was calm. The crew aboard the USS Barbero worked in silence. The massive missile was rolled into position on the submarine's deck. Engineers double-checked every connection, every bolt, every wire. The submarine captain gave the order. Prepare for launch. Cameras were ready. Reporters waited at the receiving site near Mayport, Florida. Everyone knew this wasn't a normal Navy operation. This was a statement to the world. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. With a roar that shook the sea, the Regulus missile launched into the sky. Flames exploded from its tail as it shot upward, slicing through the clouds at 500 miles per hour. The ocean below disappeared as it raced across 100 miles of open water. Inside the missile, the 3,000 letters trembled but held firm, locked safely in the warhead compartment. For 22 minutes, the missile flew through the air, carrying not death but messages of peace. At Mayport Naval Air Station, military and postal officials waited, eyes fixed on the sky. Then, like a bird descending from heaven, the missile appeared. It roared overhead and landed safely on target. The payload was retrieved and history was made. The letters were unloaded, carefully sorted, and handed over to postal officials. For the first time in history, mail had been delivered by a missile. It was, as Arthur Summerfield proudly declared, a significant step toward the future. Reporters called it missile mail. The media loved it. The headlines were wild. U.S. mail travels at 500 miles per hour. Missiles for peace. But beneath the excitement, whispers began to spread. Was this really about the mail? Or was it something else? Many historians now believe that the test wasn't just a postal experiment. It was also a show of power, a symbolic message to the Soviet Union. The United States was saying, look what we can do. We can launch a missile with perfect precision, anywhere, anytime. No one said it aloud, but everyone knew. The Cold War was as much about communication as it was about control. And this strange little mail test was both. For the post office, it was innovation. For the military, it was demonstration. For the world, it was confusion. After the test, Summerfield predicted that soon, mail would travel at hypersonic speeds, guided by rockets. He imagined letters from New York reaching London in minutes. He believed this was the dawn of a new communication age, but the dream didn't last long. The missile mail experiment was never repeated. The cost was enormous and the practicality was almost zero. Missiles were expensive, dangerous, and required massive coordination, and the world was already moving toward a different kind of revolution. Satellites, computers, and eventually the internet. Within 10 years, communication had leaped forward in ways no missile could match. But for that one brief moment in 1959, humans had turned one of their most terrifying inventions into a symbol of peace. Imagine the symbolism, a nuclear-capable weapon carrying letters, not bombs. Words, not warheads. Messages, not mayhem. It's poetic, isn't it? A war machine carrying the most human thing there is, Polan, communication. Yet at the same time, it's haunting. Because it shows how close we live to the edge. How easily tools of peace and war can switch places. The missile that carried mail one day could have carried destruction the next. As decades passed, the memory faded. Those 3,000 letters were distributed quietly, many ending up in private collections. Some were lost, others sold at auctions treated as historical curiosities, but the deeper meaning remains, buried in history, waiting to be rediscovered. Think about it. That launch was only 22 minutes long, but those 22 minutes told the story of humanity itself. Our desire to connect, our obsession with speed, our constant battle between creation and destruction. Technology is neutral. It's not good or evil, it's what we choose to do with it. That missile could have ended lives, but that day, it carried hopes and maybe, just maybe, that's what makes this story so powerful. Because in the middle of one of the most dangerous decades in human history, someone dared to imagine a weapon becoming a messenger. Let's pause for a second. Picture the ocean again. The submarine rising out of the deep, the missile glistening under the morning sun, the countdown echoing through metal walls, a burst of fire, the sky splitting open, the missile racing across the sea, inside it letters from people who believed in progress, in peace, in the future. When it landed, it didn't just deliver envelopes. It delivered a message that even in times of fear, humanity can dream of connection. It's easy to laugh at missile mail now. We can call it a publicity stunt or a strange piece of Cold War theater. But beneath that spectacle lies something deeply human, the urge to turn even weapons into tools of unity. And in a way, that's what defines every era of human progress. From fire to electricity, from telegraphs to smartphones, every breakthrough began as a way to reach someone else. But here's the twist. The same innovations that connect us can also destroy us. The same missile that carried mail could carry war. The same internet that shares truth can spread lies. The same technology that brings us together can tear us apart. So the real question isn't about missiles or mail. It's about us. Are we using our power to connect? Or to control? The missile mail experiment never changed the world of delivery, but it did change something else. It revealed the depth of our imagination. It showed that even in the middle of fear, humans will find a way to dream. When Postmaster General Summerfield declared that mail would one day be delivered from New York to India in hours, he wasn't wrong. He just didn't know it wouldn't be by missile. It would be by email, by instant message, by satellites and fiber optics. His dream came true, just not in the way he expected, and that's the beauty of it. The future always surprises us. Today, that Regulus missile sits in history books as a footnote, a bizarre experiment that mixed war and communication. But maybe it deserves more than that. Maybe it deserves to be remembered as a moment when humanity chose imagination over destruction. Because if we can imagine a missile carrying letters, then maybe we can imagine a world where weapons become obsolete, where communication travels faster than hate. So the next time you send a message, a text or an email that travels around the world in seconds, remember, it all started with a dream that one strange morning in 1959 took flight from the deck of a submarine. The missile mail experiment lasted only 22 minutes, but its legacy has lasted decades. It reminds us that progress isn't just about machines, it's about meaning, it's about how far we're willing to go to connect with one another. A weapon of war became a messenger of peace, a missile became a mailman, and for a brief moment in history, humanity proved that even in its darkest times, it can still find light in the most unexpected places, because sometimes the loudest message comes from the quietest envelope. So remember, every story, no matter how strange, carries a lesson, and this one, from the depths of the Cold War, whispers a truth that still matters today. Technology doesn't define us. Our choices do. And on June 8, 1959, we chose to deliver mail.